Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
A wonderful and calm morning to you, and welcome to Ways Breakfast # What Are You Saying? The thought-provoking breakfast show for great enthusiasts and, of course, progressive minds. On this show, we explore fresh perspective, pressing discussions, and inspiring stories through Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And, of course, I am Okikiola Taiwo Jalupon, your anchor for today, and I welcome you to the show, especially. Also, you know that I'm never here alone. I'm with my best girl, Oluchi Precious Amenka. What do you mean? That's like
Good
trying to play a trick on our audience. You're mute today. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I mean, thank God for a new day. That's all I can say. Yeah.
I've not seen you since Monday. Yeah.
There's something
since the
happening to
weekend.
our friendship, and it's time for you to become intentional at this point.
I probably will come and start visiting you. The problem is you need to feed me enough.
Have I fed myself enough? But if you come, we'll make do with what we have. But how are you doing, though?
Well, the news usually is always a mix of many things. Sometimes it's what determines the kind of mood that you're going to, or the kind of responses you give to people. There are some days where you are really patient, and
Yeah.
then by the time you open your social media, somebody will just say something random behind you, and then it triggers you at that point. So it's
I
always
remember
a mix
something
of
I put on my social media, I think early last year, and it was just a random post, but I got it from an inspiration from a roommate, and it was clear, stated, nobody should be powerful enough to control your mood. And it felt like, oh, a cliche term to use, but over time I've realized that that's something I need to keep reoccurring every single time, because transparent aggression is a thing, right? I mean, you can stay in an environment where the vibe is off, and you still need to keep that joyful spirit that you have. So when you get to that point where nobody literally determines your mood, good or bad, you have power. That's the real power. So I'm like, okay, this is something to, recount every single time of my life. And seeing that you've mentioned that the news sometimes can take your mood this way, I want to say the news is also not powerful enough to control my mood.
This is now taking it beyond human.
Beyond human, every single, everything to look at, news, family, finance, health, no, you're not going to determine my mood. I will determine how I want to feel. Let's see if we can take that.
Started this morning, there was a book where we spoke about, actually showing up and taking the hard task first, right? So the hard task for me has been on posting on social media, right? Because I don't know how people do it. That that Twitter fingers where you can easily text what you're feeling on social media. When you have a write-up, you can go and put it on social media, because I don't know if social media keeps it or you want to communicate to other people. But recently, rather than put my expressions in my notes, I'm now putting my expressions on social media.
Direct,
unfiltered. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to come back to this note again. I feel like, okay, maybe I should take out this paragraph and replace this paragraph. Like I'm trying to write a perfect poem or something. It's just that this is my unfiltered opinion, and then I put it out there. So that's something that I've been doing, and I don't know.
On what platform? How come I haven't seen them?
On Instagram, I made a post about June 12 election, the June 12 scenario. I made a post about the Benue killings and some other things. So these are some of the things that I've been openly talking about, which usually I'll just keep my opinion to my notes, because not literally for fear of what other people will say, but just that let me just get it out of my head. It's stuck in my head. I'm thinking about it over and over again. Let me just put it in the notes. But now it's going straight to social media. So in case you see something on social media that is triggering you from what I've said,
hold her.
don't hold me. You cannot shame the shameless. I already posted it. That's my unfiltered opinion. You're gonna take it like that. Thank you. Well, if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please subscribe now at Official Upgrade TV. You can like and share the link to your friends and family. You can also follow us on all our social media handles showing right now on the screen. Today we're taking on a powerful topic: influence, media, and crisis escalation. With the world at our fingertips and trending hashtags shaping our realities, how much damage or good can media truly do? So I want to hear from you. We'll go on a break right now, and when we return, we'll take you through the top stories across the globe. Please stay tuned. Glad to have you back from that break. Now let us take a look at the news of today's paper. Today we'll highlight the top stories from the Nigerian News, the Punch, and of course the Guardian newspaper. Starting off with the Punch. Oluchi?
All right, thank you so much. So the Punch still has, it's still reoccurring the most trending story on the Benue killing. So I'll just reiterate that again. It says here, Benue bloodshed, governor and assembly at odds as SGF and ex-generals move in. SGF, Akume ex-generals consult communities ahead of Tinubu's visit today. PDP crisis, chair governors and INEC holds emergency talks. On River Park Estate, we see Ghanaian businessman sues IGP, EFCC, head IG monitoring, Akin Fakorede over alleged suppression of land probe report and rights violation. And then the one that is very major here is on the PBT door-to-door movement, saying here, 2025 Democracy Day, Tompolo's grassroots door-to-door movement holds special media engagement in Abuja, signals historic nationwide movement to return PBAT to Aso Rock in the 2027 elections. The door-to-door celebrates PBAT monumental achievement and promises 10 million votes for PBAT in 2027 general elections. And, that's all that the Punch really has. But still giving details on this story. It's okay that the Punch is highlighting more details about this particular story, because I've always said that sometimes I feel like we lack follow-up in some major stories. There's just the buzz of it, and then after we've seen people get emotional and sensational about it, then it pauses. But it's good that beyond the buzz, we get solutions to this, and the papers and headlines should also be at the forefront looking for those solutions, sourcing for them. And I'm sure our discussion today is going to open how media really helps in escalating crisis and providing solutions. So yes, it says that the president visits aims to assess firsthand the recurring crisis that has claimed numerous lives and caused significant destruction. This was stated by Onanuga. And during his stay, Tinubu will meet with all stakeholders, including traditional rulers, political, religious, community leaders, and youth groups, to seek lasting solution to the hostilities. In preparation for the visit, President Tinubu has already dispatched the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Inspector General of Police, Head of Intelligence Agencies, the National Security Advisor, and the Chairman of the Senate and House Defense Committees to the Benue State. The President is expected to hold a town hall meeting with all stakeholders during the visit. And Tinubu had condemned the ongoing violence in Benue State and called on all leaders and residents to embrace peace, love, and mutual understanding. Ahead of the president's visit, the secretary to the GF, Senator George Akume, convened a consultative meeting with stakeholders. And I don't want to say yada, 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 but that's the end of the story, basically. So it's giving updates on, the president's, would I say, prompt action, or prompt response to this particular ongoing issue. And there's something the Punch mentioned here that I really don't know how to place this, but it's giving me a lot of feelings. He says Tinubu had condemned the ongoing violence in Benue State, like everybody would condemn it. It's one thing to come out to give a press release. Maybe because of how politics is. Politics is such that there's always one release, one speech when something is happening. Do you understand? Like, you can see people are drowning, and then the first thing is to do a release. I saw somewhere one quote that said that when somebody is drowning, that's not the best time to teach the person how to swim. Do you understand? There's swift action, and then there's press release, and there's speeches, and the whole, we're doing this. So I understand that, politics and governance demands that you give some of this speech to, for protocol's sake, right? But if we can also add swift action to many talks, it will make a lot of sense for me. I'm not saying that coming out to give a speech, coming out to condemn, coming out to gather the high and mighty principalities and powers to come to a resolution doesn't make sense. It does make sense because eventually their suggestion as people who are at the forefront of this battle would help in alleviating the main cause. But we should also have swift action to it. Swift action in the sense that who are you collaborating with at this point? Do you need international bodies to help you? On Monday or so, was it Tuesday, I was talking to God's Beauty where some papers recorded that security men or the police officers in Benue, some of them were even responsible for giving out intel to these bandits and all. So that means there's already an internal issue. How are you dealing with that? What's your plan to fish them out? What's your plan to ensure that this is not going to reoccur? And what's the intentional plan about that? I think that's what people are more concerned about, rather than saying that we need to have peace, we need to be one-minded. I don't think these people don't know that. They know that, but the people that want to still perpetrate violence will do so. So amidst all the protocols that comes with governance, speeches and all, it makes sense. It's good for the papers. It's good for us to read it for you viewers. But we need swift action as well, because at this point, a lot of things are happening. Like you've mentioned, I'm sad that we're still revisiting the story, but nothing has been done in that sense. So we'll keep revisiting and talking about it till we see that, there's peace and calm in Benue State.
Basically, I've had like two versions of guests. One who gave us a situation report on Monday, who lives in Benue State, who gave us a situation report on Monday stating that there are security operatives that have been deployed to these states, but they have been more of observers than people who are actually trying to maintain peace. And then we had another guest in the afternoon who said that the observation is very necessary, and that's basically the best they can do, because it's a village-to-village fight. It's an internal crisis rather than an external one. But the person who lives there is stating that it's a foreign crisis. So that's why I said that there's so many theories to it that we have not necessarily been able to get a hold of. He's asking why. Everybody's asking how, why, when. Do you understand? When is it going to end? When did it start? Who are these people that are involved in this thing? Who are these people who are supposed to have this reconciliation with or dialogue in that sense? Because you cannot tame what you don't know. You cannot have dialogue with people that you cannot identify. So it seems more like...
But you know that dialogue in a condition that already has chaos is very far-fetched. At this point, the priority is security first.
That was the president's release, that he's condemning this immediate deployment of security operatives, but dialogue and reconciliation should happen through the governor of Benue State. That is what
that goes.
That's what the news said on Monday. But today is Wednesday, and we're still hearing dialogue, and reconciliation. Town hall meetings. But well, let's just hope that eventually some of these things, even as much as we can put it together, would make something work for Benue State in this sense. I'm tired of, not necessarily tired, it's more like sadness mixed with helplessness to know what to do to help Benue State in that sense. But then let's quickly also look at what The Guardian is saying this morning. The headline is reading, property owners shun C of O, title registries over bureaucracy and graft. And it's saying the Nigerian Living Standards survey report showed that 71.4% of landlords sampled across 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory are without titles. The report further revealed that while 13.2% of the country's property owners have title deeds, only 8.1% have a certificate of occupancy issued by both federal and state government. And this is quite funny to me, because I know a lot of land issue is something that is just beyond the Nigerian Living Standards survey system. Is the fact that some people stole the land, some people killed to get the land, some people got the land through illegal means, some people are 419 selling people's land. So it's almost impossible. Some people are doing fake surveys, fake titles and all of these things. Some community leaders are perpetrators of these crimes, right? And this organization is saying that only 8.1%. I think that this is even under... The people that don't even have this thing are more. Yeah. To be honest, a lot of people, you see when they are selling lands to where they just write, they have deed of assignment, this of that, but no C of O. And then if you want to do it, they'll ask you to go and do it yourself. You go and register your land yourself. You eventually get there and find out that they have resold to a lot of people. You start to take them to court. Court case goes 10, 15 years without you having access to your land. And this is very common in Lagos. I don't know about any other state, but I know that it's a very common thing in Lagos. So this is just to state that if you are buying property, if you own a property, and I think that you need to go over again and cross-check to ensure that your property is safe. And people will not wake up in the morning and they just tell you that you stole their property. Even some people sell government allocated places to other people. And then when government says that they are going to break this place down to do gutter or extend the road, people start to cry and then lament that their homes and houses are going to be, brought down.
I think that industry is one that needs a lot of education, because regulation. Because sometimes, how do you even want to know? Do you understand? Sometimes when these fraudsters, they package themselves in a very professional way, and you most likely will fall prey to it, no matter your level of intelligence. So regulation is very true and needed, and I guess education as well. I don't know how it will be done.
Well, another story here is saying that INEC rejects PDP's NEC meeting notice without secretary's signature. You see, INEC, PDP, APC, all these people, and rejection, reconciliation, predictions. I think that just about now, let's just face what is happening.
The administration of now.
Like the administration of now. I know that INEC's job is different from what should be concerned about what is happening in certain states or whatever stuff, but please let the headlines be reading the solutions and not
I saw one interesting headline that said that APC is going to fall in 2027 just like PDP fell in 2015. I'm like, this prophecy is from which kingdom?
Like very soon we'll start seeing pastors and imams doing their predictions.
That's one thing they should stop doing. At this point, they should learn their lessons and stop doing it.
Okay, very soon we'll start doing some reposts and probably have a conversation about it. But basically, there were other stories on the Guardian newspaper, but that's all we can take for this morning. We need to go on a break right now and then return with this very, very important topic. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Welcome back to the show. As I said earlier, today's topic is quite a crucial one, and it's been something that has been shaping our existence in that sense, maybe online, and this has become something that we had to talk about. And it's also the role of influence media and what they play in crisis escalation, and what crisis escalation can even be. In essence, there were some tweets made by some influencers on social media, and I'll read them before I give my 2 cents on this conversation. I think the online doctor made a tweet. He was stating, okay, Kehinde Bankole, let's start with that first. Benue incident is too heartbreaking, too sad. My heart is going out to every family affected. How will they be consoled? Too heartbreaking for words. And after he made this post, our favorite online doctor started with certain conversations that sparked a lot of comments. He said, plane crash in India, trending news all over the world. Israel attacks Iran, trending news all over the world. Terrorists invade a village to butcher and burn 200 people in Benue State. Most Nigerian media, Jarvis breaks down after Pella walks out of the relationship. And
trust me, I went to go and check it now. Oh, really? I checked it.
When I saw the Jarvis Pella breakdown after Pella walks out of the relationship, I'm like, like, and so why is this a conversation? And then somebody replied, Kehinde Bankole still replied and saying that nothing against these youngsters, but it's pathetic. More sad as this shows consumer appetite. The people have a role to play. If media houses churn out mediocre news based on their timing and the people shun it, it will force them to do the right thing. But everywhere you see people engage under such posts, even more when there are so many serious issues aground at the time. Majority's minds and intelligence will break your heart. The media carry such huge responsibility, but so must we, the people, too. And I think that she literally said it all in this sense when saying that it's not just a responsibility of the the media in that sense is also the fact that we are the ones that give them that validation in that sense to keep doing what they do. And it makes me feel somehow as a media person, because looking at being a young voice in media and especially public relations, this conversation is crazy to have, right? It's almost like they're pointing fingers at us too, that even you people say you would have woken up this morning, rather than talk about the serious issues, start talking about what celebrities are doing with themselves. These are people that are normal people in that sense, having every relationship issues that anybody can have. Meanwhile, there's so many things happening in the state beyond. There's so many things happening in the state beyond issues of so many other security threats over the years. But if you are going to give your take on this conversation, what would your stance be?
Well, my stance is, let's understand it from the point that the media doesn't just stand on its own. It's the audience that influences media behavior. And we're in a world where people like sensational things, right? They like the one that has the real thrill and the buzz. I mean, let me not even lie. Looking at that story, it's not like I really know the Pella and what's the other guy's name? Jada, JD.
Javis. I need to go.
Pardon me. So it's not like I'm a fan as much, but breakup stories, you know, thrill and buzzes gets us more interested than some other stories. I saw someone just yesterday, put out that, that people in the Southwest don't know what God has done for them in that sense. That if people in, the Middle East, Middle Belt, as they call them, in the North, come over to this side and they're not facing the kind of insecurities, the challenges. In fact, before insecurities, there are a lot of things that the Northerners face that we in the Southwest, we look like we're privileged. She said that if they were just to come here, that you see how much they will appreciate it. And if we were to go there as well, you will understand the privilege that you have. So I think that many times it's just our appetite and our desires that the media leverages on. So it's not like the media is just the one that is, maybe there's one independent body, there's somebody wearing a black and red tie, say I'm the media, that will determine what you would listen to or what will make the papers or what will make the buzz. It's actually the audience that is affecting the media behavior, and it's a questionable one. It's something that should be addressed. There are things that should be escalated. Yesterday on this show, somebody mentioned something that really made sense, and that was the Guinness, the person that's about to attempt the Guinness World Record. He said that media, he was more specific with radio. He said the three major aims of it is to educate, to inform, and to entertain. So that means, look at it, educate and inform is almost similar, right? Entertaining is almost underneath. Do you understand what I mean? So there's always the part to entertain, or there's always the part for us to laugh and have jokes and everything. But I think the primary reason for media as a means of influence is education and information. Do you understand? So I know we were in the age where we have a lot of lifestyle creators, content creators, everybody. I love content creation a lot. I love listening to. I mean, I have a lot of celebrities I follow that they just make my day just by looking at all of them. But in our age where it's not all laughs and jokes, where we know that that is not only our problem, we need more media outlets, more celebrities, more influencers, people who have that level of influence to pay attention to the education and the information as well. I know we're going to open that much more, but when I looked at the whole story, my mind just went to the fact that actually we're the ones that determine this media behavior. We influence it based on our desires. What interests us is what we pick. Because what favorite online doctor highlighted is so true. I mean, there is. Let me not be a hypocrite. Let me go back to maybe 3 years before I started media. If I would see any trending story, I wasn't somebody that liked to watch the news. Because I felt like, the news just has a lot of bad stories. I mean, what concerns me with CNN and BBC and channels? Let me do something else, right? Let me look at what the celebrity is doing. Because that was what I felt was normal. But coming into the media space now, I'm realizing that this even holds more priority and more importance as compared to the one that causes laughs and chuckles and butterflies. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, we're the ones that feed the media with our behaviors, and if we can start addressing our behaviors and start putting our priorities right, then our consumption will be better, I guess.
So I like that you already mentioned that for some reason, somewhere there's a misprioritization amongst us people.
I believe.
And then all of these cliques. And for me, I think that Kendi Bankole literally put it perfectly. And just like you mentioned, that yes, the media has a responsibility for information, and education. But of course, we also have to do the same. If a headline like terrorists butchers villagers in Benue State does not get the clicks, obviously
they will look for a Pella and Jada.
Works out of the relationship. So what message are we even sending to? That's one of the things that I was thinking about when I was reading it. That what kind of message are we sending to the international bodies? The Pope had to talk about the Benue State massacre. Most people said even
the
before
United Nations is
yes, even before the president gave his press release in this sense, right? So what kind of picture are we painting to the international body about how we handle national business, right? How we handle your brother's keeper in that sense, or your brother or your sister, not necessarily by blood, but by being
by nationality.
yes, by nationality, by being Nigeria, I assume that we're family, right? So it just makes me feel sad in that sense that you see 300 recruits. Business have to stay on business, right? Or these media houses have to stay on business. So obviously, if Pella works out of Jarvis, if relationship breaks out, and that's what is going to get the trend or millions of views or retweets, that's definitely what they are going to post. And I think that sometimes media will post the Benue State massacre and then post the Jarvis walks out of this thing, maybe 5 minutes difference. But at the end of the day, by the time you go back to look at how well those two stories have done, you see that it's the Jarvis that actually had more
retweets. So they want to concentrate on that one and give you more updates.
And keep giving you updates on what is happening, whether she has walked back in or she's asking him to beg. And I think that this is a very, very dangerous loop that we're already in, because if media is chasing engagement and people are engaging with fluffs just because people are saying these things, real stories will lose their light. And even media houses like us that are talking about the real stories will also start to wonder why people are not, involved in that sense. So for me, it already looks like a tragedy.
That reminds me, sorry to cut you short, that reminds me of somebody one time that was watching one of our shows and was like, oh, what do people even talk about? And the person felt like, I'm like, if we want entertainment, we have entertainment segments, gossip gala, and you will get it. But you can't expect that we don't talk about trending social issues. Even though they don't catch your fancy as much, they are important and you should listen to them. So the person felt like, do people really watch all these things? And I'm like, oh, this is a flaw. This is a problem that needs to be dealt with. So I just wanted to add that.
Media flaw.
Media flaw. Person flaw as well.
Audience flaw. Media flaw. But yes, some people still argue that, media doesn't shape society. Like your own person, it just reflects what the society means. And that's why I was saying that imagine what the international bodies now see about us. Like, we don't have these things on the headlines or everywhere talking about it. It's more of a random relationship issue. So, but basically, with influence comes escalation, which comes with the millions of views and all of this. But how do you think that influence has become a weapon in this sense, especially when it relates to crisis?
Pardon my raspy throat this morning. So, looking at the question, I think I want to approach the answer in a different way, looking at influence. So, yesterday too, I was happy to see certain lifestyle content creators come out, not just on their story now as a random thing, but on their major feed to talk about this particular insecurity problem. And it took me back to NSAS. Remember when we had, on Twitter, they're not X now, everybody was commenting. It felt like, the nation is going on real-time protest. The change is now. Jesus is coming now. That kind of vibe. Yeah. So it gave me that kind of thought yesterday. And this person came, let me mention his name. I think it's commendable, Jay on Air. We all know Jay on Air for his comedic, content and everything. I think he's even presently out of the country, cruising and enjoying. And then it was commendable to see him come out on his feed. This one, he didn't plan to make people laugh, but to mention the particular crisis. And I think he had a more solution-driven tone to it, in the sense that he was mentioning things that we can do, how we can send relief packages, to people that are there, maybe deploy more individuals, and just solution kind of tone. And then there's this other celebrity, would I call her a celebrity? Well, she's doing great as well in the media space, and she came out to give an update as well. And I'm like, I think if more influencers, no matter the niche you have created for yourself, can take this approach as well, it will make sense. Because at the end of the day, these young stars, teenagers, young people, even some adults, they hold you in high esteem. If they see your post and they see the president's speech, they want to click yours first. So that means that if you wield, they say this in a lot, heavy is the head that wears the crown. If you know you wield a lot of influence, you should be more intentional about what you dish out. Do you understand?
Not just saying that my audience will not like it, my likes will go down,
that's not true.
I will lose followers.
That is absolutely not true. And some of them, they have this sly way of just making it a story thing. That, maybe I still talk about it on my story. Go and check it. I did.
24 hours.
No, it can be major. It can be major, and nothing is going to spoil with your brand. So seeing what John Ed did, I'm like, yes, if you go through his page, he's a very comedic person. That is already his niche. But he saw something critical and pivotal at this point, a national concern, and he spoke about it. More celebrities can do that. Not going to call out names, but if you do that, somehow, Seth, do you know what you do? You make the people of Benue feel like they are being heard. Because at this point, everybody is just, I don't know if I'm not Benue, but I'm trying to understand and imagine how they feel at this point. People that are still there. That, I mean, I saw one news, somebody was saying that I don't want to live again. I've lost 8 of my family members, I think maybe 2 shops burnt. Why am I leaving? Do you understand? And then maybe the person is going through his social media by mistake and does not see anything that seems to be concerned about what he's going through.
Even our guest on Monday said life is not as short for him the next day. He's sitting in his house wondering,
imagine?
Would I be next?
Can you imagine?
The attacks he mentioned were just 5 kilometers from where he stays. So either way, it's almost like if they can get here, they will get to me. He even said that he had buried his mom since 2021 and he has not been able to even go near the site of the burial since that time, because as close as it is to the headquarters of, Benue State, there's huge insecurity issues there. So even the dead does not have rest, not to talk about him who is just sitting by. And funny thing is that in the interview, I saw children running behind him. It's quite an elder statesman. I saw children running behind him. And imagine an elderly man saying that life is not promised tomorrow. But he cannot even explain to those kids. They were happy behind him, running around.
Probably don't even know the gravity of what's happening.
So he cannot even explain to them that this is what is happening. This is what could happen. He's just there carrying on the burden. As you said, that heavy is the one that wears the crown. He's just there carrying the burden of, maybe, just maybe there will be solution before it gets to me. Maybe. He mentioned that 15 council chairmen or elders in that state have fled Benue State to go to the headquarters. They have moved all of them to the headquarters.
They will not flee,
and this is just a random person saying, this is my ancestral land. I was born here. This is where I'm going to live. This is where I'm going to die. So if whatever is going to happen, let it just happen. But I am here. Yeah. Do you get it? And that's why when we finished, I was like, I commend your bravery. Yes. Not a lot of people who want to. He even said that if the government does not want to fight, let the government say, we are not fighting for you. Let them fight for themselves. So that it will not become another story when they now start defending themselves in that point, where they will now be like, okay, it's now this against
civil war again.
Exactly. So it's almost like, as much as the government is saying that, stay back, let's get this one, it's also the fear that is in those people's, hearts. They are seeing 200 people, even people that are not aware, seeing 200 deaths, are wondering, okay, 200 deaths.
200 is a lot of number. So it's like a haul.
The videos are extremely graphic to watch. when the Israel and Iran thing was happening, people were posting it, Nigerians were posting it still as a cruise. Some took it seriously and explained why it was happening, but some still picked it as cruise that anyways, there are fire, what would they call it? What's that thing they call that during the Christmas celebration?
Fireworks.
Yes, that there are fireworks happening between Israel and Iran, because you see pictures that were taken and posted on social media where it looks like one missile is entering, another one is going out. So they were like, fireworks is happening between Israel and Iran. Meanwhile, thank God I'm in a state where none of that is happening. At least I can sleep. But that's not going to be the story of somebody who has lost 5
and you are
people.
overrating your safety as well. Who told you won't be next? I don't want to say some things. I mean, who told you can't be next?
Still went online to say, come and see Nigeria. Come and try Nigeria. If you think that you can do, you see what we can do to you. And a lot of people started attacking that person. That try which Nigeria? What do we have? But that's why I also asked that: is this thing more like a weapon? How does this influence actually relate to crisis and crisis escalation in this sense? Because one tweet can trigger anything, right? This person tweeted, come and try Nigeria. If this person was or if they took it seriously, or this person was a dictator, or were just like, these people don't even, this is just a small country that we can just, take over. There's no first grade weapon in this sense. There's no wall barricading them. There's nothing in that sense. These people will come and then we will not start running helter-skelter just because they made one tweet.
The liberalism that the media permits to. I know it looks like, I don't know the laws that are guarding all this thing. It feels like people have the most freest of expression to some very sensitive things like this. If it can be watched, we'll be careful. I guess we would actually be fine at the end of the day. And then there's also misinformation. If we go back to the NSAS story, I'm sure I'm going back to some more gory experiences that we've had. There were also comments, right? In fact, some of these things will now link to tribalism. Sometimes I'm even wondering is that why we're now seeing it spiral into some of the things we're seeing in other states as well? Maybe like some issues that we have not dealt with in the past that has sowed seed in some people's mind that are making them to bring out more chaos. That's one side of the story. There's also the part that human beings can be callous and wicked, and regardless of any seed you sow, if anybody wants to do evil, he will do the evil. But at the end of the day, we need to curb misinformation. We need to have the right data. We need to sort out what we have, what we put on our social media pages as well, especially when it has to do with life and death. Life and death alone should make you sober.
It's not the time for you to cruise.
It's not.
To catch cruise.
It is very insensitive. That's why I didn't see that comment. I wouldn't have commented anyways, but I would be praying for you wherever you are, because you won't put me in that situation. It's very insensitive. I mean, that's why sometimes when people lose their lives and some come out to give testimony and say, God, I thank you. Some people slept and did not wake up, but me, I slept and I woke up. I'm like, life is a privilege. The fact that you have it, it's not because the other person didn't deserve it. You are just privileged at this time to be alive. So when you see things happening across, people are there, whether it's your country or not, having to come out to give the most useless of comments shows that somehow this can catch up with you in ways that you will not imagine. I'm not trying to be negative here, but life is a privilege. Do you understand? It's not time for cruise. There's a part of cruise, because I think we have a cruise culture in Nigeria. Maybe because of our own, we are going through a lot too. Maybe you have looked through your task for the day. You're tired of what your boss is making you go through. You're like, Mama, can I talk about this Benue stuff and give one snide remarks? Maybe I'll have some engagement. That is not it. I've always said it on this table. Human beings need to have some sort of empathy and be sensitive to certain things. Responsibility to certain things like this. Do you understand? Because when it comes to life and death, like I will say again, use your head for life and death issue, not to be talking randomly. I would say if you don't know what to say, you keep quiet. You keep quiet, right? And you pray. That's why you have your knees. You pray for people who have lost their lives, or you think of solution. Don't need people trying to instigate more problems and all of that.
I think Oluchi is on fire and angry with a lot of...
I'm angry with the way a lot of people use social media. Some people should be banned, and I don't know why social media...
Maybe ban them. Anyways, let's just breathe a little for like 10 seconds and then come back and continue this conversation. Please continue to stay with us as we come back soon. Welcome back to the show. We're still talking about the role that influence and media play in crisis escalation, and it's been a lot of conversations in that sense about what we as people should do and what the media should maybe from now henceforth to do in this sense. What I don't think that we have asked the big question. So I'm going
What's
to
the
ask
big question?
Oluchi the big question.
I don't like when people tell me they want to ask me big question. Please, do I look so big?
How do we fix this, and what's the way forward for us from now?
Solution driven.
Yes.
I don't shalaye. Oh, yeah, talk solution now. It's giving me that vibe. But I would say again that, I mean, the media shouldn't always depend on the audience for it to shape its behavior. And when I talk of the media, I'm talking of outlets. I'm talking of people like us. You know, I mentioned before that someone once told me that this your conversation, share people will want to listen. I'm like, yes, the ones that will listen will listen. In fact, you should be listening because we want to shape your mindset, change how you are thinking. Exactly. So listen to this one. There's entertainment part too. Gossip Gala is there for you 12 noon and other entertainment, sessions, and you can always do that. And I think at this point, I saw one report that says sometimes there's media, is it inaccessibility to some of these areas, and we have underreported stories, right? So that alone somehow hinders how crisis can be escalated. When you don't even know the numbers, the facts, and the figures. I will say it again, people in this region, we are very privileged. Some people in other regions are not as privileged. How many journalists, how many independent writers, presenters would like to relocate from the bustling Lagos that has all, the privileges to a faraway country, faraway state in Kaduna to just have these stories. We see only few of them. And even the ones that are there, how many of them are even being taken care of? So I think this is a call, I don't know how to put it, the English ran away from my head at this point, but it also shows that we need to have more intentionality in how we get our stories and our facts and figures, because across many media outlets, sometimes the figures, the statistics are always like this, and that's because they are underreported as well. So when you have underreported stories, or we don't even, sometimes on this table, we've mentioned that we've heard this, we don't really know how it works.
Data.
If we have a data problem, and that is not how to help with information and education. If you have a data problem as well. Why do we have a data problem? Because sometimes we don't have people there to help us with the data, with the numbers and the research. So if we can have more intentionality, I don't know, maybe sometimes financial aids as well. Some media outlets start paying more attention to the people that they deploy there, ensuring that they are getting the real facts and figures. It helps at the end of the day. And I think nobody should give up on the fact that no media outlet should give up with churning out responsible content. Nobody should fall prey that pressure of, they don't listen to this type, they listen to this one. Not at all. At the end of the day, when you churn it out and it's always in their face, it will now shape their own behavior.
And to see that to the kind of information that they only see.
Exactly.
Because sometimes if you give options for either cruise or serious conversation, obviously the cruise, just like you mentioned, the cruise will sell. So if you know that throughout that day, the only thing you are saying, maybe you turn off your phone eventually. But if you know that throughout that day, both comedians, you have seen comedians, online celebrities, all of these people talking about this issue.
For this
then for some reasons you go, when the River State went into the state of emergency, it was a conversation on everybody's lips. Even people that knew nothing about rivers started asking me, I beg, waiting be that state of emergency they talk, waiting cause emergency. They had no idea about it, but it was almost like every single person was talking about it, and that shaped their perception of, okay, let me be involved in what's really happening in rivers, even as much as they didn't know what was happening. So I think that if
media houses, including ourselves, we should say it regardless. This is the story, this is the news that you need to
do
hear.
it anyway. I think that this question is already answered from some of the things that you have said, asking if the Nigerian public is addicted to distractions, or are they just simply tired of the constant bad news that we always have.
Sometimes it's two sides if you look at it. sometimes we use these distractions because we're also dealing with so many bad news. And it's almost like, yeah, something is happening in Benue.
Sometimes
my children,
internally or personally.
So it's like, how would I put it? It's like a coping mechanism in that sense that I'm dealing with a lot, and if I'm distracted, that's how I'm not so bothered with the evils around me. But at the end of the day, that's not the way the solution will come. If you are engrossed in the problem, you're always looking at it, one day your eyes will fish out the solution rather than thinking of a coping mechanism of denying it, suppressing it. The solution won't come. So I get the point, because I also do it. If I'm so overwhelmed, I like to distract my mind to do other things. But at the end of the day, to meet you is in front. I'm still here, auntie, I didn't go. So at the end of the day, you still have to sort your issues and be concerned with national cause. I think that's the story I want to just put out today. Every individual should be concerned, even down to young people. Thank God for our show. Our show is tailored for the young minds to also be concerned about pressing national issues. And I'm happy that I've broken out of that stereotype I had years ago. I mean, my dad used to watch a lot of news, and I'll be like, we'll change this channel, let's watch something else, something buzzy, let's go to Nollywood. Though you have time for that, but I saw how intentional it was. I mean, going to church on Sunday, you see him read the newspapers. You know, there was this time that newspapers used to be displayed.
My dad used to buy 3 different newspapers. Even as much as I saw that they were similar stories, but
we had rack of it in our house.
Every morning, one of us has to go and get the newspapers. Ask for 3 different newspapers. When it comes in, it does not need your what would I call
good
it?
Morning.
Your good morning, or even your I'm trying to look for the word. Or even your audience in that sense. My dad would just randomly call you and just say, this news said, and you're like, I don't read this, what's my own? And I'm like, what do you think about it? So you're forced to say something, and if he sees that you're giving the wrong, what's coming out of your mouth is just wrong information, you don't even have information about that thing, it will not educate you on why you need to know. And for some reasons we used to be frustrated about it, but now that's what is basically shaping our life.
And the demographic that needs to be looked at intently with this kind of behavioral patterns are younger people. You will find it more among younger people. I've heard someone say, oh, younger people are not interested in politics, governance. I mean, we've heard it with national issue story. Bring the entertainment when you see us. That's a narrative that should be changed. They should be interested. They should see something on the newspaper and talk about it. Have blogs, have podcasts. It's not just all about relationship and somebody broke up with somebody. Talk about what the president said in his speech on June 12th. Young people and young minds. And it will only happen when your interest begins to tilt towards that place. And again, the responsibility of the media outlets to relentlessly push them out.
Basically, I think that the consequence of everything becoming a form of entertainment is the fact that we will continue to lose sight of what is important for us. And I think that where we should draw the line is to know that what is cruise, and what is serious issue, what is of national, security is important. The media is like a mirror, but we choose what stands before it. If you want to see a country that values truth, justice, and human life, then we must shape our narratives to reflect that influence is power. No matter what, whether 5 followers, 10 followers, millions of followers, influence is power, and it's time we use it responsibly. Let's stop clicking on fluff. If we reward depth, then we'll get better content in that sense. But this is how we wrap up today's show. I hope you learned a thing or two. Please follow us on our social media handles and also on YouTube at Official Upgrade TV. We'll see you again tomorrow with another important discussion. Bye.